Today I want to talk about fiscal sponsorship. Now, fiscal sponsorship is this weird sort of thing that exists in the nonprofit world, but it is a tremendously useful tool. Essentially, the reasoning behind fiscal sponsorship, in my opinion, is twofold. One, you want to do a charitable program. Let's say you want to do an educational workshop. Let's say you want to subsidize someone's education or housing. Let's say you want to teach. Let's say you want to help the homeless. Whatever the charitable program or educational program or social assistance program, all of which fall under 501c3 tax-exempt purposes, whatever that program is, let's say it's a one-off thing. It's just a one-time program. Maybe you're doing something for a specific purpose that has an event tied to it or a big political thing going on. You just want to do an awareness campaign about one thing. No long-term programming, no need to raise funds for the long term and do this day in and day out for years. That's a great thing for fiscal sponsorship. Number two, and I'll get to what fiscal sponsorship is shortly. Number two, essentially, if you want to have training wheels on your nonprofit, let's say you have a great idea, you do want to do it day in and day out for the rest of time, but you want to make sure that people have an appetite for it and they're going to donate to it and that it works. Well, maybe do fiscal sponsorship for a short period of time, which would allow you to both get some money from your donors, see if the programming works, and also then start using that money now that you know that you have it and that it works to start paying for the actual full-form nonprofit application. And that's really the crux of this, right? Is that a nonprofit formation takes a long time. It's expensive too. There's filing fees, legal fees. It takes months. Even the short form nonprofit application takes probably 4 to 6 months. The long form, 6 to 8, sometimes more. So it's a long process. Fiscal sponsorship, quick. It can be done just by reaching out to a 501c3 organization that's already tax exempt and just asking them to be your fiscal sponsor. In fact, some nonprofit organizations, that's their entire purpose. They exist just to be a fiscal sponsor, which means they have that whole application process dialed in. You reach out, fill out their application, sign an agreement, start raising money. All of your donors donate to that nonprofit. They take maybe 3%, 5%, it's whatever you negotiate. They take that for the administration and the accounting, and then they disperse the rest of those funds to you. Everybody wins. Your donors receive a tax deduction because they donated to a nonprofit organization. You receive the funding for your nonprofit program, and then you get to do that program. All the beneficiaries of that program benefit from it, hopefully, and everybody's happy. So let's kind of recap that, right? Let's actually define it. Fiscal sponsorship is where you borrow the nonprofit status of another nonprofit organization, an existing 501c3 tax-exempt organization, and you then receive funds from them that your donors donate to them so that they get that deduction to run your charitable program. Typically, so long as your program is in line with their charitable mission, it's all good. Everybody can do that. It's in line for them. They maintain their tax exemption. You get to do your program. Everybody's happy. And that's why the organizations that are specifically designed just to be a fiscal sponsor, anything you do is in line with their charitable purpose because they exist to sponsor programs. On the other hand, the other example is where you approach a nonprofit organization that does something similar to what you want to do, and you ask them, hey, I want to do what you're doing. I want to raise money. You can take 5% of what I raise so it benefits your organization, and all you have to do is issue donation receipts and send us the remainder of the balance. That's awesome, and they don't have to raise money. They still get a little bit of fundraising. You get your fundraising for your program. Everybody's happy. And in all of these situations, one of the really cool things that can happen is you also then are working with another nonprofit organization that can help you. They can help you with some of the accounting. They can help you with what it's like to run a nonprofit program. They can really then become a trusted partner of yours. And that's why sometimes fiscal sponsorship actually ends up being an indefinite period of time. It's not always a limited duration because sometimes these partnerships, so to speak, work so well and everyone's so happy about it that they just want to do it indefinitely and sort of be in that symbiotic relationship. So just to finally recap, the very simple what is it? Fiscal sponsorship is where an existing tax-exempt organization allows you to receive tax-deductible donations from your donors through their 501c3 nonprofit organization. They take a small percentage or not, it's whatever you negotiate with them, and they give you the rest of those funds to do your charitable program. Of course, you need to keep those funds separate if you're a for-profit business. Only use them for the charitable program. Probably some other restrictions that the fiscal sponsor themselves will put on your relationship in your fiscal sponsorship agreement, which is really the only thing needed here. So going back to nonprofit formation versus fiscal sponsorship, all you need is an agreement for fiscal sponsorship. It can take one day. Whereas nonprofit formation, remember, minimum 4 months, probably maximum a year. So fiscal sponsorship, easy, quick, low-hanging fruit for nonprofit charitable programs. Just need to find yourself a fiscal sponsor, and then everybody gets some funding. Everybody gets that program. Everybody's happy. Hope this was helpful. Until next time, see ya.